Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. There's something that's annoying me lately, not because it's rare, not because it's controversial, but it's just becoming overdone. And you can see it on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. Everywhere you get a group of people together or just a group of photos together, someone's there holding up the middle finger. Well, that might have been shocking in the 1970s and the 1980s. I think it would be very hard to find a picture of somebody without the middle finger. And indeed, the bird has become very diluted from its source. The first record we have of the gesture is actually the British version, where you use the index and the middle finger together to indicate your displeasure with somebody, an extreme displeasure. And this actually comes from the Battle of Agincourt. When the French knights arrived and the British faced them down with a numerically vastly inferior force, the French were laughing and they vowed every archer that they caught, they were going to cut off their index finger and their middle finger. So when the French were defeated and were riding away, the English archers put those two fingers in the air as a defiant gesture. Hey, we beat you, we've still got our fingers. And that has gone on through the years. The British still use the index and the middle finger, whereas North America, we've switched to simply the middle finger. And boy, has it wandered away from its source material. There was a time in the 1960s where the Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, at the time, displayed his middle digit during a session of the House of Commons, and it was scandalous. People couldn't believe what he had done. Nowadays, every 5-year-old knows what it means. It's not like you're protecting your child. I don't know if it's on cartoons yet. Well, adult cartoons, it definitely is and has been for a long time. And I don't mean the ones where they're put away in that separate section of the video store. Do you remember video stores still? I just reminded you of them. But yeah, it's supposed to be for shock value. Now tell me what shock value is there with you and 4 of your friends on a beach. And you're putting your middle finger up. Why? Are you expressing dissatisfaction with the beach? Are you expressing that you somehow beat the beach? Doesn't make sense. Couple pretty girls at a bar. One of them has their finger up in the air. Are you upset with the bar? Is there somebody there that's making you feel wrong? No. You're being defiant for the sake of being defiant. I would even go so far as to say it's not even a rude gesture anymore. Of course there's going to be people offended by it. I can find people that will be offended by the drapes I have on my wall. Offense should not decide anything. Unless it's real offense, like race or, sexism, stuff like that offends. But a gesture, one that is so commonplace, is in almost every action movie ever made, half the comedy movies. That's only because I think comedy movies go further back than action movies, unless you want to blink detective movies in there. Because, the 1920s to the 1940s and 1950s, Hollywood tried to see itself as wholesome, even as its stars were busy fornicating and having multiple wives and multiple affairs, the so-called golden era. There's just no point in expressing outrage with your hands anymore. Maybe it's time that we use this as an opportunity to educate people on sign language. Sign language is very rich. I only know a little bit of it myself. I know how to tell somebody to be quiet in sign language. I'm doing it right now. You can't tell, but I'm doing it. And that might be more offensive. You know how it is when somebody tells you to shut up. Whereas I give the finger, half the people are going to ignore me, either because they're polite or because they don't care. The ones that get offended, I would even guess priests at this point wouldn't be terribly offended. Now, the meaning of the words behind it go all the way back to the 10th century, when English was a lot more German than it is now. Now it has a significant Romantic, read Latin influence through the French. So, yeah, it's a German word that we imported, and it seems to mean exactly what you think it means. There is, well, here's a good example. In World War I, Germany had a very successful plane company called Fokker, F-O-K-K-E-R. And indeed, that is a word that can be traced back to the 10th century, where it says the field of the Fokkers, F-O-K-K-E-R-S. Well, in languages, vowels do migrate. A can become O can become U, etc., etc. They can all substitute in for each other. Accents change. But this symbol, even the word behind it, does not date to Scotland, where golfers were trying to state certain things. It doesn't state to any law. This thing goes back over a millennia. And prim and proper people might pretend that they're beyond it, but you piss the right person off, you're going to hear them use it. I've always said, doesn't matter what, you drop a hammer on your toe, you're immune from criticism for the next couple seconds until you get that pain out. And I don't care what words that you use. Well, maybe I care to a certain extent, but it's not going to stop you from using those particular words. So, when you're out there with your family, with your friends, with whatever it is, and you decide to put the bird up thinking it's going to make you different, even if you're in a big crowd and you think doing it is going to make it easier for you to find yourself in the picture, just don't think you're original. And if it is a crowd shot, there's probably somebody else holding it up somewhere. Not for your camera, probably for somebody else's. Just something to think about, because it's everywhere. It's worse than Nyan Cat was at its worst. It's worse than Badger, Badger, Badger when it was at its worst. And it has staying power, I give it that. Like I said, at least since 1500, that symbol's been around. Well, 1515, roughly. With that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like. That's the thumbs up, not the symbol that we are talking about this episode. Share, because sharing is caring. Don't forget to click subscribe in case you haven't subscribed already. And click the bell in the lower corner, because that lets you know every single time we unleash another episode into the world. And we hope you have a fantastic day.